So I got Eric with me here today. Eric, you're currently out in Waco, right?
I am.
So you actually were the very first person that kind of like actually reached out on Instagram and kind of got us excited who were working behind the scenes about starting adaptive standing tennis and organizing it more in the United States. I guess you found me through Instagram. Some of the stuff I was doing training at the time, and the TAP tour was kicking up. So, what were your kind of initial thoughts when you first came across, that this is an option?
Yeah, I mean, I was really excited. So I'd been an amputee for probably a little bit less than a year when I came across your Instagram page. Um, and I want to say it was maybe a picture of you in one of the tournaments that you did in South America. Um, and so I saw like you and some of the other players, and I had grown up playing tennis and I loved the sport, but I kind of thought after my amputation, I was like, I don't know if I'll ever really be able to play competitively again. I had gone out and played a couple times with my dad, um, but it was just so hard to, play a match because my mobility was so different from what it used to be. And when I came across your pictures and kind of started looking at the tap and all of that stuff, I just got really excited, knowing that there was this modality of tennis that was out there for amputees. And then I got even more excited when I found out that you were in Texas.
Yeah,
And so that's why I decided to reach out.
cool, man. Well, so tell me a little bit about, because I know you come from a tennis background, and we got to hit a little bit. We didn't get to hit long. My foot was boogered up, but
Yeah.
so tell me a little bit about, like, because I could tell, yeah, you were having some mobility issues and a little bit of confidence, like, coming doing the ball, but your swing path and swing in general. I mean, it was so natural that you could tell that you were a very advanced tennis player.
Yeah. So I started playing tennis when I was probably around 6 years old. I used to, go. My dad played in a league on the weekends over at TCU, close to where I grew up, and he'd go play his matches, and I'd go just hit against a wall uh, outside. And I really got interested, and so he signed me up for lessons. And from about the time I was probably 8, 9 years old, um, all the way through high school, I was taking lessons, 2, 3 times a week. Um, and then in high school, I played 4 years varsity on the high school team, one district 6 times in various events. I thought about, playing college tennis. I had, talked with some schools, but I ended up deciding that, you know, I kind of came to the realization that I wasn't going to be, playing at center court on Wimbledon. That just wasn't in the cards for me. And so I decided just to go to a school that I wanted to rather than try and chase the dream of professional tennis. So I went to Baylor and played on the club team for a couple years there. But it was mostly just about having fun. I mean, I loved the sport so much. It was such a huge part of my life. And then in 2014, I was living down in the Houston area, got in a car wreck down there, um, spent a total of 4 months in the hospital. And after the third month, I decided just to go ahead and amputate my leg below the knee because the outlook they were giving me was not positive on much of a recovery. And so they kind of said, honestly, you'll have a better quality of life using a prosthetic than you will trying to salvage your foot. So went through that, had the surgery, um, and then it just kind of initially my thoughts were, I don't know that I'll ever be able to really play tennis again.
Yeah.
But as I got better and better, using the prosthetic, and just kind of getting more used to it, and started to get more active, I just kind of had that urge where I wanted to get back out and play again. At this point, it had been probably about a year since I had played, um, and I just kind of had that itch. It was like, I really want to get back on the court. And so that was something that really motivated me and pushed me to try and get better at using my prosthetic.
Good. Well, I'm really glad that you did, man, because I know the work that you're doing right now and helping to, go and visit new amputees and, you're a really sound, solid guy. I've always really respected you a lot for that. And so I know that your testimony that you share with the patients that you're seeing, is a great value. But you came and you participated in every single one of the World Championship tournaments that we had, right? From 2016 to
Yep.
19. Okay, so
Yeah.
what did you think
I
about
was
them in
there every year.
general?
Oh, it was a blast.
Yeah,
I loved it. I mean, going into it, I had no clue what to expect. I hadn't played an actual tennis tournament in a long time. And so, I didn't know, you know, how mobile people would be. And at that point, I played my first one in, was the first one
16.
2016?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so I'd been an amputee for a little over a year. Um, and, I had seen like, Paralympic athletes and stuff like that who were just running around like crazy. And so I'm like, I don't know if these people are just going to be out there running around like fully able-bodied people, or if they're going to be more like me, where it's, I can barely move across the court. Um, and so I had no clue what to experience, but getting into it and just, seeing all different levels of, athletic ability, general mobility, um, and even, different levels of just tennis skill. Some people who were in that tournament, they'd only played tennis for a couple months uh, before the tournament got started. And so it was really interesting, but it was a lot of fun just getting to meet all the people and kind of swap stories and stuff. But just being around that group of people that really loved the sport, it's been a blast. And so I loved it every year.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit like a snack, one of those snack chip variety bags, or
Yeah,
the packs that you get that a little bit of everything in there when it comes to talent level.
exactly.
But ultimately, what I always enjoyed the most about it was having fun and having people come in that you really don't get to see that often. You never know if you get to see them again because they're flying in from different parts the world. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun to connect through tennis, and then at the same time be able to visit and make connections, to be like, hey, if I'm ever traveling out your way, if you don't have a bed, I'm on the couch, I'm
Yeah.
going to go experience that. But yeah, no, we got to play against each other a little bit. And I think the time I remember most is like when we were playing in Galveston, and it was like
Oh yeah.
105 degrees. And then I know the court
Yeah.
was like, so it was like, between when we were like changing, and we're just like dumping water on my head, and the water would just
Yeah.
instantly go up. And I had to catch a flight like 2 hours later to Colorado. So it was pretty crazy. But I always really enjoyed, like, I guess out of anyone that I played or anything, playing with you the most, just, where your mentality, your mindset was. And when you're with your game, that we just had fun and had, good matches and got to
Mhm.
play. And, I really wish that maybe sometime in the future we get to, I know, because we live only like 3 hours apart.
Yeah.
So, it'd be good to get together and play again. But so is this something that, like, when you see your patients or when you talk to people about things, because I know for a little while I saw you running around, and I always wanted to say something to you, but I figured I would let you kind of figure it out for yourself because you're running around on the sprinting foot. So do you still
Mhm.
play tennis with the sprinting foot, or are you using the heel part to it now too?
I kind of go back and forth. I mean, honestly, a lot of it just depends on which socket is, fitting best at the moment.
Sure.
Because that's something that I've learned is really important. If you've got a socket that's getting too loose, trying to run around on it, you're just going to get blisters and you're going to be sore.
Yep.
Um, and so, I mean, the different feet, I like different things about them. I can run a little quicker with like the sprinting foot or some of the different running blades that I've used. Um, but it's, my balance isn't quite as good when I'm trying to change directions and things like that.
Right.
So that part takes a lot more work. And it's also harder to stop quickly on the running blade as opposed to a regular foot. Um, so I still kind of go back and forth, just
Yeah.
depending on, the day.
So during changeovers, I know wheelchair has where they, can have a changeover where they can have maintenance to the wheels and stuff like that. So, when we
Yeah.
were like thinking about like rules and implicating things and stuff like that, like for tournaments, like how long, during a changeover, I need to change my foot or something, whatever. So
Right.
that was pretty cool. But in general, going into the future with this, I know that not only with tennis, but you in general, it's been really cool to see, man, because like you've like trimmed down, slimmed down quite a bit, and like really got toned up. Because I see you out there pushing weight around and throwing the ball against the wall, and stuff like that. So is this something that you're going to be looking to, kind of do into the future, as long as it's like an option to be able to travel to tournaments and compete and play?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, tennis has always been something that, I just enjoy doing it. Just being out there, it's kind of like the rest of the world just disappears and I can just have fun and enjoy the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I have been putting a lot of work into just kind of my overall health, and especially with my mobility. And a big part of that was, now I've got two kids, a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. And, I wanted to be able to be that dad who can get out and run around with his kids. And so that's been a big emphasis on me, staying healthy and, getting as mobile as I can. And partially just so I can keep up with them. 4-year-old, he's starting to run around.
Yeah.
And so I got to be able to catch up to him if I need to.
Yeah, no, exactly, man. And it's been cool watching, you and the kids grow up and everything like that too. So,
Yeah.
But with tennis though, do you think like, if this was more organized and things like that, is it something that you would do more often?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would love for there to be, more tournaments. Um, and that's something I've been, kind of working with the USTA a little bit on their adaptive
Committee.
committee, trying to spread awareness. I'm hoping to get together a tournament in Fort Worth sometime maybe next year. I've talked with the country club up there and they said that they'd be open to doing it. And so I know they've gotten stuff in like North Carolina and kind of over in the Midwest.
Right.
So some of those areas have seen good success. But absolutely, I mean, I want to see this grow as much as it can.
Yep.
And
We got to bring
I
it
will
back to
play
the
as
home
much as I
state,
can.
man. We got to bring it back strong to the home state that
I
pushed
know,
everything
yeah.
off, So, but no, I think you touched on a really good point, and that's something when I first jumped in and I was like coaching in Houston and playing and then training and then traveling and then, on tour competing, is when I first jumped in, I was like, okay, well, this is going to take off real fast. Like we had like real good success and like it was growing and things like that. But it was maybe 3 years into it that it finally kind of registered to me that, wow, this is going to take time. And so that was like one thing, like every year when we had our big, like, kind of group meeting in Houston, that I know Cindy and myself always tried to like kind of preach to everyone, like, hey, in the United States, like we need you in different sections to go and just start of a program or get a tournament going or get people engaged, because like I did the numbers on it. So from like 2016 to 2019, 2016, we had 9 USA players. 2019, we had like 13 or 14. So I looked at it and I was like, like where's the growth in that? And I think the growth, in large came to inconsistency of, having other tournaments besides just that one in Houston to compete. And I know San Antonio tried a little bit, but, I'm happy now that there's stuff going on in North Carolina, more stuff out in the Midwest, and, get Cali going soon. And then, so it's exciting to see you're still keeping up with it and getting stuff going in Texas. And when I get better, man, I'll make sure you're the first. I already promised another guy that I would, out on tour, that I would play with him. I'm anxious to kind of get some serves back and see how I can come up on 140-mile-an-hour tennis ball. But anyways, but no, so just really, man, keep up, the good work. And I'm glad that I met you through tennis, and we'll do this again sometime in the future, check in with your progress. But thanks again for sharing your story. I think that this is going to be very beneficial to a lot of people that come across, something a little bit, later, not too later in their life, but, maybe in the 20s or so, that trying to look at what is possible for me to still do and things like that. And you've really turned things into a positive. And, all the people I know that you speak with and all the people that speak of you speak very highly and very positive about you. So, keep up the good work, man. And we'll do this again, and say hi to the family for me. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do. You do the same.
All right, man. Love, respect.
All right.
Talk to you later, Eric.
All right. Take it easy.
Yep.